It is time for the one and only, the premier, the only official podcast of Pro Rodeo. Your shoot bosses are ready, so let's give it a go and talk some rodeo.
Hello everyone and welcome into another episode of the Shoot Bosses, the official podcast of Pro Rodeo. It's Tanner Bard, Tracy Rink, as we always are, joining you for another great episode. And Tracy, later on in the show, we're going to sit down with one of the young faces in rodeo that's really starting to make his name known. The Resistol rookie all-around leader, Wasy Shaa, is going to join us here on the show.
Yeah, he's had an incredible season so far. He's knocking on the door for the NFR in bull riding with, the summer stretch heating up. Yep. Bareback riding, he's right in the mix. I mean, he'd have to do some special things to make the NFR in bareback riding, but 18-year-old kid, and he had a lot of hype heading into this. He kind of reminded me of Riley Webb a little bit, but not, he does two events, and he's kind of lived up to expectations so far.
Yeah, he's 19th in the world, as Tracy said, in bull riding, just outside the top 40 in bareback riding. But, in the all-around race, he's top 5. He makes the NFR in bull riding, gives himself a pretty great shot to be competing until the last night there for a world title. So
you're right there. There's guys that are going to be in the all-around race that are at the NFR. So if he wants to have a shot to win the all-around, he's got to get there. But, it's right there in front of him, and he's a great kid and a lot of talent. I'm excited to talk to him.
Yeah, definitely. We'll talk to him a little bit about the rodeo life, about life, in the rig, going down the road. A lot of great things will come. But as we always do, let's kick this thing off with our Pro Rodeo props. And speaking of bull riders that are having good years, our Pro Rodeo props this time is going to go to none other than veteran Clayton Sellars. He probably doesn't like anyone calling him a veteran, but he has to be at this point, Tracy. He's been around the sport for a handful of years. 6, 7, 8 years now, right?
Yeah, I think he's 26.
Yeah.
So he's been doing it since, I believe, he's 18. He had some injuries last year. He was knocking on the door to win the world title a few years back. And
That must have been before I got here.
Yeah, he was third in the world. I think it's the best he finished. He made several NFRs, and then he opted to go to a different association for a little while, and it wasn't his. He just ended up not liking it, and he's got a lot of family reasons to be in the PRCA.
A ton, yeah.
A lot of ties to the PRCA with relatives and things, and he's a great rider. And he's in his prime. He's one of those guys that he comes up clutch, and when he needs to, he's won big rodeos. He won San Antonio, and he's done things. And it's crazy when you say veteran, but when these guys are like 24, 25, 26 years old, but now is the time. I could see this being one of his years. If he's knocking on the door for success, this would be his time probably to hopefully get that gold buckle.
Yeah, he's right in the mix for that world title on his mind. Coming off a huge win at the Spanish Fork Extreme Bulls, 85.5 points, but gets the job done there. Almost a $15,000 payday, Tracy. Expos are starting to climb, man. These are some huge events where, guys can win more at an Expos than they can at about 5 rodeos.
Yeah, and Luke Mass at the California Rodeo Salinas, that big bull.
Rodeo, bud.
Rodeo. I forgot. Where am I at? But he won like 16,000 plus.
Yeah.
But imagine what a bump
this is a one-header, too.
Yeah. Well, imagine what a bump in the standings that is. Like, this is a huge bump, and that's why those Expos money, when you talk about the finale, and that's why Stetson last year at the end of the year,
he
rode like 85% of his bulls and won 120,000 in a month, and it's capable of doing it with the ground money.
Yeah, it's crazy. There's no doubt about that, and there's definitely going to make a big impact. Sellers, top 5 in the world, good chance at a gold buckle here this year. And we want to remind you that this episode is sponsored by Las Vegas, the home of the NFR for 39 years. Come see why Vegas is the sports and entertainment capital of the world. This December, when Pro Rodeo's best, saddle up and ride at the NFR. And speaking at the NFR, we'll have a bunch of events coming up and awards being handed out here. Can you believe it's already the end of July, Tracy?
Yeah, no.
Where's this year gone?
We don't have an off season.
I thought it was April last time I checked, and now it's almost August.
We were just in Houston the other day. It seemed like, dealing with rain and a great event at Rodeo Houston, and then all of a sudden it's going to be August, and then all of a sudden it's September 30th, and it's insane how fast.
Round one at the Thomas and Mack.
Then round one at the Thomas and Mack, and it's crazy how things just roll so fast. Busy's good. I love busy. It makes the time go faster, but it's just insane how fast these seasons go by.
Yep, and before too long, we'll have those awards, announcements, everything coming your way. Speaking of that, in our short round, nominations are open for the Danita Barnes Contract Personnel Lifetime Achievement Award, and Sarah Gibson, who works in our rodeo administration department, she's accepting nominations for that. That is an awesome award for sometimes it goes to the people, Tracy, the stock contract personnel that haven't been recognized until now. The ones that have kind of worked behind the scenes to get to where they are. You have until July 31st to submit those nominations.
Yeah, and you want to because it means so much. I mean, it's a Lifetime Achievement Award, but those are people usually that probably never think they're going to get that award.
Because I think you can't win an award within the last 15 years,
right,
if I'm
right.
right. Yeah.
Right, so it's got to be spaced out, and I mean, usually it's guys that have been around a long time, but they finally get their due. It's kind of like Sammy Andrews getting in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
He might have thought he was never going to get in, and all of a sudden it's just great to thank people that have done so much for the sport of rodeo.
Yeah, so make sure you submit your nominations if you have any. If there's any contract personnel out there that you think are long overdue to win a big award, that Danita Barnes would be a good one for them to accomplish. Another announcement the PRCA had just this past week, Tracy, we announced that Cedar Gap Wealth Management has joined the PRCA as one of our official sponsors and an official wealth management partner of the PRCA, and also the National Finals Rodeo for the next 3 years.
Yeah, and this is good if you get involved with this to try to set yourself up financially for the future, because saving money and trying to find ways, because a lot of these guys probably don't think of that stuff. They're just making money and going down the road, and it's like anything in life, the money will go away if you're spending it and everything else. So this is a good way to hopefully get these guys in line to set them up for the future.
Shout out to Abilene, Texas, too.
Andrew piping in from the back row there.
You think he was from Abilene?
He's got a lot of Texas pride. I will give him that. There's no doubt about that. But yeah, you do mention that, not only is a great sponsor for the PRCA, but also a really good assistance and, something to have there for our Cowboys to speak with and figure out how they want to save their money and, invest in their future. So yeah, excited. I think that's going to be a good partnership for Pro Rodeo.
Yeah, I definitely do. And these guys seem very interested, and they're from Texas, based in Abilene, and I think this will be something hopefully that grows beyond for the few years that I believe it was a 3-year deal.
Yeah.
And hopefully it expands on to more than that in the future.
Yeah, it should be pretty cool opportunity there for everybody involved. Lead us right into our 8-question segment, Tracy, and we're going to sit down with the number 9th ranked bareback rider in the world, Jacob Lees. Jacob's one of those guys that's like slowly gone under the radar throughout his career, Tracy. He pops up on the scene last year in Vegas, makes his first National Finals rodeo. He seems like he's going to be a mainstay. Looks like he's found a pretty solid footing as one of Pro Rodeo's best bareback riders.
Yeah, and he's a good guy. I mean, I talked to him in Calgary when I was up there, and he's got talent. There's no question he's got talent. I mean, usually the light bulb comes on with those guys. Some of those guys have talent, and they just don't think that they compete against the pros, so to speak. And then all of a sudden the light goes on, and then they're really good, and I think that's where he's at.
Do you think that happened with a guy like Josh Frost as well?
Yes, definitely, because Frost was a substitute teacher, and like a teacher, that was going to be,
right?
Yeah, that was going to be his job. He was like a welding teacher, if I'm remembering right. Obviously, his brother Joe was very accomplished bull rider.
PSU down there.
Yeah, and they both did. And then Josh won San Antonio kind of out of nowhere at the time when he won it, and he went to his first NFR, and I think he was a little outmatched a little bit. I mean, he wasn't ready for it. And, man, he's made himself into be one of the best bull riders going down the road for the last several years.
He's finished runner-up 3 straight years?
Yeah, I mean, but you have to guys' credit like that, it's one thing to realize that you've got to get better, but you have to put the work in to get better. I mean, 100%. Wanting to be better and lip service, I'm going to be better, that's all great. But those guys that do this, that get to that level where Josh is now, that's with a lot of work and a lot of practice and a lot of things have to go right. But you basically, the theory that I would live by, that speaking with guys, you get out of it what you put into it. And obviously guys like Josh Frost are putting a lot into it. And usually it's a lot easier to put into it when you realize you can compete at the level.
Yeah, and Jacob Lees is one of those Cowboys that's put in the work. It's starting to show off. Let's go to him with our 8-question segment.
Favorite movie?
Oh, favorite movie? Shoot, probably Young Guns, maybe?
Favorite restaurant?
Favorite restaurant would be Jocko's in Como, California.
Favorite horse you've ridden in the PRCA?
That'd have to be the...
What would you name a horse?
What would I name a horse? Probably something scary like Backflip Johnny or something.
Favorite hobby outside of rodeo?
I like hunting and fishing a lot. I like riding my motorcycles.
Describe saddle or bareback riding in one word.
It's fist fight.
Favorite ice cream?
Probably Rocky Road.
Who would you want to be a tag team partner? Chuck Norris or Bruce Lee?
Probably Bruce Lee. That'd be Bruce Lee.
And Tracy, you can tell that Jacob is one of those guys that takes, complete, I guess, advantage of his opportunities. He's worked from the ground up. He takes the sport of rodeo serious, but he also has a fun side to him as well.
Yeah, I mean, and it was intense in Calgary. And
it always is.
It's loud. I mean, everything there in Calgary is loud. It's just a big spectrum. It's a huge stadium. And he was excited. Those guys are excited there. It's great to catch him in that environment because there's so much money involved. But I see Lee's in and up in Vegas again. I mean, assuming he can stay healthy and the roadie's down.
Yep, would be interesting to see. That's going to end it for our first segment here on the Shoot Bosses. Still coming your way, Pro Rodeo Hall of Fame Spotlight, our historic NFR moment of the week, and also a couple of viewer questions that you won't want to miss. All that coming up after the break.
In 1936, a group of cowboys and cowgirls came together for the common good of rodeo. They accomplished a feat that sparked a fire of greatness in countless Western athletes. Today, the Western lifestyle burns on in our contestants and fans' hearts and souls. We aim to preserve the cowboy code and keep the Western lifestyle alive. Together as one, we are Pro Rodeo.
Welcome back into the Shoot Bosses podcast, the official podcast of Pro Rodeo. We're just about, 6 or 7 minutes away from sitting down and chatting with Wacey Schalla, one of the top guys in Pro Rodeo going down the road, Tracy, and still a young cat and leading the Resistol all-around rookie standings.
Yeah, it's just crazy when you think these guys are 18 years old. I mean,
what were you doing at 18?
I just graduated high school.
Unquestionable things, probably.
Yeah, probably. I wasn't I was getting ready to go to college, and I was excited to go to the CU in Boulder. It's a great school, but that was a big step, and it was like only 2 hours away, and I'm not traveling down the road every week and living like – I tell people these cowboys, they live like rock stars. They might not make the money of the rock stars, at least initially, but that's the life they live. I mean, place to place, camping out, hotels, whatever, plane rides, and it's just it'd be a crazy lifestyle that young.
Tell me how hard it would be, Tracy. You're 18, 19 years old. And you get that Procom Pay that we have. They kind of have a Pro Rodeo Pay debit card,
right,
I think, or a credit card they have. If you see $15,000 hit your account on a Friday night after a rodeo, tell me how hard it is to not want to spend some of that money. Like you said, it's just a different life these guys live, but it's also, you got to have the right people in your corner, or you might not end up being successful.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to – that you would have to surround yourself with people that understand how to make this a long-term career.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you win $15,000 in one night, and you may go no rides for a month and no checks. I mean, and they have no guaranteed contracts. It's well documented. So it would just be crazy. It'd be like hitting the lotto some night if you won an X Bulls and you win $20,000 and let's go to the casino, let's go to the bar, wherever it may be. And 18, 21 years old, but it'd just be insane.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I just can't imagine, the groupies, the things that go on with rodeo, and like I said, it's like a smaller microcosm of being a rock star.
Yeah, and I can't wait to ask Wacey some about it. I know he probably has some great stories of him going down the road. Let's jump into our Pro Rodeo Hall of Fame Spotlight, Tracy. We talk a lot about cowboys. We talk a lot about people that make an impact in rodeo. We're going to go back to 2015 Hall of Fame inductee Jack Hannum. Hannum was a 5-time qualifier for the National Finals Rodeo, but his biggest achievements may have came, really outside of the arena and outside of the sport of rodeo. He's a longtime administrator with the Professional Rodeo Cowboys Association, and he's one of the guys that's, largely credited with kind of taking that PRCA judging system to the pros, to the next level, making it where, we have full-time judges. They have to go to necessary, 5 trainings a year, that type of thing. He's really credited with that, and the Pro Rodeo Hall of Fame recognized that.
Yeah, and I mean, his sons are great, Cowboys as well.
Owen's still winning. He just won again the other day. Yeah,
and Owen made the NFR, I want to say, 3 years ago?
Yeah, both him and Jake have both made the NFR.
Yeah, Utah Cowboys. So, I mean, it's great to see guys like this, and it's all, to me, when you've been here long enough, it's so much about family and rodeo.
It really is.
And to see, dad and then sons and what they give back to the sport. I mean, we have so much of that in rodeo. Not that it doesn't happen in other sports, but it's incredible the family ties we have in the sport of rodeo.
Yeah, and it just continues to create, historic moments. And another historic moment we're going to talk about this week here on the Shoe Bosses and our historic NFR moment of the week. We'll get Andrew to pull that up here behind the scenes, and we'll take a look here. Andrew, you got the sound? If he's got the sound up, we'll let you listen to the commentary from the announcers first, and then Tracy and I will talk about it after that.
At the MGM here in June, made a pretty good ride. I didn't turn out so good then, but today I was tickled pink. The horse had a great day, and I felt like I rode him great, and everything worked out.
That's the kind of a combination that makes a winning ride. Thank you, Darren.
We weren't really talking about what was going on in the arena there, Tracy, so we'll cut that audio and talk about it a little bit of ourselves. But, this is one of the runs of the 2001 NFR. This moment's going to live on forever in steer wrestling. Brian Fields, 3-second run, ties the National Finals rodeo record. 3 seconds. And it looks like, I swear that that clock looked like it could have even stopped faster than that.
That's the first time I watched the video, and it looked like it could have been 2.9 when I look at this.
Yeah,
look at this video.
That clock ran for about another 4 seconds maybe there.
It looked like it would have been faster because Steve Duhon had the record in 86 at 3.0. That's who he's tied with. And I did a story with Brian when we were doing memorable moments. I'm trying to think what NFR preview I did for what year it was. But, I mean, so many things have to happen to have it go that fast. I mean, the Thomas and Mack is fast, but to 3 seconds is... I mean, that's crazy.
Well, and that leads us right kind of into our viewer question, Tracy. This one comes from, looks like Rebecca on Instagram. She wanted to know, what's the fastest steer wrestling run in the history of pro rodeo? So we see Brian Fields lay down a 3-second run, and you think, how can you beat that?
Right.
That was everything going right. The
right.
steer falling perfect. How can you beat that? But how about this? We go back to 1939. I'm gonna have to just believe him on this one, I guess. 2.2 seconds, but it came without a barrier. So basically, he had to tackle this thing like just right on top of it when it started.
Jump off his horse right when they let it out.
Yeah, but that was Oral Zumwalt in 1939, Palm Springs, California. 2.2 seconds. I will never see that again. No way.
I mean, it's. I think it's almost physically impossible. I mean, without a barrier. Maybe, crazy things that happen, but there's no way with the rules we have now with the barrier that would ever be possible.
After seeing that run with Brian Fields, y'all think that the 3-0 could be beat the Thomas and Mack?
Do I think it could be beat? Possibly.
Yeah.
I think it would be extremely rare. I think there's probably not a great shot of it ever happening, again.
It would have to be.
The steers are so much quicker now.
Right. Or depending on how heavier they are, because sometimes they were lighter back. They fluctuate in weight. It would depend to me if someone had nothing to lose and you're just in a random round.
That would be it.
Where
push
someone,
the barrier.
Yeah,
no
just
matter
push
what.
the barrier because they don't care because there's 30,000 or 35,000 available to the winner that night. I could see someone trying. It was like last year with Haven and Chad. Although Haven was well in the mix for the average, but. That would be my thing is someone thinks, well, I don't have anything to lose. I'm out of the average, like in a late round, round 8 or 9, and just go for broke. But you'd have to have so many things happen. Even with the incredible horsepower those guys have, it would still have to be amazing to go 2.9 at the Thomas and Mack.
Yeah, and the world record with the barriers, actually 4 different guys have accomplished the feat at 2.4 seconds. So we look at all of those runs that have been made, Tracy, and then let's compare it to, I've been following every rodeo throughout the year and going through and updating the top times and the top rides. We now have 3 cowboys that have gone 3-1 this year in pro rodeo.
Wow.
So it shows that, it's not too far off. The situation may be a little different at the Thomas and Mack with some of the pressure that's added on there. But there has been 3 guys go 3-1, so it shows that, 3 might not be out of the question if everything clicks in Vegas for a guy.
Yeah, and I could see it. I could see 3. 2.9 is... it's kind of like a guy that throws 90 and a guy that throws 100. Because as crazy as it sounds, 2.9 is I think a big difference than 3 seconds because even more has to happen right. But crazier things that happen. I would have never imagined we would have seen a 6-1 run that Shad almost had.
That should have been a qualified run, but the calf got up.
Right.
He didn't even break the barrier.
Right. I would have never, because I saw Trevor in his heyday, when I first got here, and he was doing 6.5s, and I thought, man, that's electric. That's so fast. And then all of a sudden, 6.1. So, I mean, anything's possible with the athletes and the horses we have now, but it would be really cool to see. I just don't know if it'll happen.
Yep, so another great viewer question, and I just want to remind you all that you can send in your viewer questions as well. You can go to our Shoot Bosses Instagram page, or you can comment on the bottom of the Pro Rodeo YouTube page as well under any of the videos, and we'll try and get them here on the show for you.
Yeah.
And
Tracy,
go ahead.
CB Nation sent a question. That's the Shoot Bosses. They asked me, what was my favorite Halloween costume? And it's easy.
The one you're wearing right now?
Yeah.
I'm
well,
just kidding.
What is this? I don't need that today.
Yeah, not today.
Not today. So it had to be I was Batman when I think in 6th grade. This was like way before Christian Bale, and I just remember saying, I am Batman. What is that?
How'd it go? Did it scare
it
anybody?
went okay,
or?
but my brother was He-Man.
Okay.
So he was He-Man.
They're twins.
Well, I guess they're related, but he should have been Robin, Batman and Robin. But I took the Batman thing, and I had the utility belt, the full-blown costume. So it was my favorite costume.
Nice. I like it. Another guy that's been working his way towards a Halloween costume maybe since birth. That's Buck.
Buck lives in Halloween.
Yeah. And he's been, Tracy, I'm sure he'll have another good Pro Rodeo Word of the Day coming our way.
Yeah, I mean, he's got some things up his sleeve. I know he's got a couple things ready to roll, and we'll be excited to see what he's got today and moving forward.
Hopefully a bottle doesn't fall out of his sleeve. He's been acting weird lately. We go to Buck. He's got your Pro Rodeo Word of the Day.
I'm Buck, official correspondent of the Shoe Bosses, the official podcast of the PRCA. My word for the day is mystery. Seems like every few years a mystery cowboy qualifies for the NFR. When it comes to Buck, there is no mystery. I am the Shoot Boss hero. I protect the best interest of the PRCA. Don't step on my cape, youngsters.
Farm life means always hoping for the best, but planning for uncertainty. You have to be ready for the next everything. The next dawn, the next season, the next harvest, the next technology, the next challenge, and the next generation. No matter what comes your way, we can help keep you ready for the next.
Welcome back into the Shoot Bosses podcast, the official podcast of Pro Rodeo. Tanner Barth and Tracy Rinkin. We talked about it off the top of the show. Tracy, getting ready to sit down with one of the hottest rookies in the game right now, a new face in the sport of rodeo, and really an all-around cowboy, Wacey Schalla.
Yeah, he's had an incredible year. He's coming off a great college national finals rodeo, and you expected good things, but sometimes it doesn't translate early, and it seems to be translating for him right now as the season's heating up.
Anyway, Wacey's joining us here behind us right now on the show. Wacey, first of all, we just want to thank you for jumping on here, man. We know it's busy during the summer months, and it's a grind out there on the road, that's for sure.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it, guys.
So you've had recent success. You know, we talked about your career. We've been watching this throughout the entire season. You know, at the beginning we said, you know, Wasy Shaa has got a shot. This kid's got a shot to come here and make a name for himself. You go to Cheyenne. I think you won both your sets in Cheyenne. You're 19th in the world in bull riding. You know, top 40 in bareback riding. What's allowed you to have success this early in your career?
Yeah, I mean, ever since I was little, the bull riding was kind of my main deal, and I've definitely been working hard towards that my whole life. And come high school, I started in the bareback riding and ended up being pretty decent at it, so I kind of stuck with it. And, yeah, here we are. It's going pretty good.
How do you keep yourself in shape mentally and physically? I mean, 2 rough stock events, I mean, they take a toll on a lot of guys. Just 1 rough stock event, especially bulls. How do you keep yourself mentally and physically ready to go each night?
Oh, shoot. I mean, yeah, stretching's a big deal, stuff like that, doing mobility all day when you can. And, I mean, the main deal is, like, whenever you do good in the first event, it kind of sets the tone for the bull riding or whatever. And so that's what I try to do, and that's what happened in Cheyenne. Bucked off my bull the first day, and second day I had a bareback horse and a bull, and it just went off of each other there. It was good.
What was your first Cowboy Christmas run like? You know, a lot of guys talk about that being pretty stressful, hard on your body. You know, what was it like for you? You're still young. You probably bounced back in no time.
Yeah, I feel pretty good. I mean, I wouldn't have changed it for anything. So, yeah, they weren't joking when they said you're getting on bulls every day. But, yeah, I mean, it's great. I wouldn't change it for anything.
Who are some of the maybe role models or idols you had? I mean, obviously you're young and up and coming, you know, future star here. Who are some of the guys that you used to watch back in the day and maybe now you see them in person?
Yeah, I mean, guys like Stetson, Sage Kimsey. I don't live far from Sage and them, but I know I'm closer with his little brother Trey. But Ty Hamilton. I mean, those guys, they've been dominating for a few years now. And, I mean, just being able to talk to them for if I ever need help or anything like that, it's been awesome.
What was the transition like for you, Wacey, going from high school to, jumping right into the college ranks to now as a pro? Has it been a pretty seamless transition, or have you had to learn a lot of things?
I think the most definitely the hardest part is just the traveling aspect of it. I mean, the bulls and stuff, I have practice bulls at the house that are ProRodeo caliber and all that. But, I mean, yeah, definitely the traveling, just being able to know how to enter and just – I mean, that's 100% the main deal is just traveling.
So what's 8 seconds feel like to you? I mean, I've asked cowboys all the time. I mean, people are like, oh, 8 seconds, it is what it is. But do you live your life in 8 seconds?
Yeah, I mean, most guys, when you talk to them, they'll tell you that they don't really see much in 8 seconds. But, I mean, I stay pretty awake, and I'm seeing it all happen. And just bareback ride, waiting on that pickup man, and the bull riding, it's a lot smoother than bareback riding. So, I mean, I see it all happen. And, I mean, I don't really black out a whole lot. So, yeah, I mean, it's pretty smooth and pretty clear with me.
So we mentioned that the success you had this season, obviously 19th in the world in bull riding, top 40 in bareback riding. But what do you think it's going to take to get to Las Vegas? I know that's kind of a loaded question because a lot of things have to go right, but you're right there. We're heading into the key stretch. I think, we're within 80, 90 days of the season being over. What do you think it's going to take to get to Las Vegas?
I think it'll take 140,000. So I need to win about 70 more thousand this year. So I forgot about me and my dad talked about this last night. Just forget about everything that I've won and just try to win 70 more thousand. So that's where I'm going.
With all these big rodeos at the end of the season now, like Sioux Falls and stuff like that, I'm assuming you make a point to try to be in that mix. I mean, the Puyallup, the last 3 weeks of the season, you could win probably $30,000-$40,000 if things roll your way.
Oh, no doubt. The Extreme Bulls finals too, like all those deals, like there's still a lot of money to be won. So the game's not over till it's over.
And Wacey, I guess this is just kind of an open-ended question, but if it was to come down to it, do you think at the back end of the season you would maybe put bareback riding on the back burner and just focus on bulls if you were really pushing to make the NFR and bulls and knew you were within a close range? Is that something you've thought about?
Absolutely. This year I've for sure set my sights a little more on the bull riding side of things just because I didn't really know how I was in the bareback riding and how far along I would be on these professional horses. And yeah, I mean, I've gotten to get on. I think I've been on about 35 head of bareback horses in PRCA, and I've realized that I can do it with the rest of them. So next year we're going to go at it both pretty heavy.
Is there a bull you've ridden or want to ride right now that is on your list?
Oh, shoot. Angel's Landing, I got on him in Clovis. That's got to be probably everybody's favorite. But, yeah, that's that bull. I mean, I was pretty nervous getting on him just because I know how everybody wants to get on him, and he's the bull that the money bull for sure.
So is that one of those moments that you've had during your rookie season that you'll never forget is getting on Angel's Landing, or is there some other moments that stick out to you in this first year that have really said that's going to be a lifetime memory?
For sure, that's definitely one of the top ones is riding Angel's Landing in Clovis.
Sure.
And I know I talked to guys in the past that the coolest thing about your rookie year is you only have one chance to win Rookie of the Year in the all-around or Rookie of the Year, whatever, bull riding, whatever it may be. I'm assuming those are things on your list that, you can only check off once?
Absolutely, for sure.
What's it like with these other rookies, the guys you probably grown up with or know or, cross paths with, and even like the college national finals? Do you guys have your own group of people because you've grown up together rodeoing?
Oh yeah, like the other two rookies that are doing real good, Jeter Lawrence and Cooper James. We're all really close, good buddies. I junior rodeoed quite a bit with Cooper James, and Jeter, he lives in Oklahoma as well. So yeah, we all have a pretty good relationship when it comes down to that. We're just doing what we love to do, riding bulls, not really competing against each other, just trying to all get to the finals at the end of the year.
Yeah, so do you guys ever talk about, that amongst each other? Because you have all these rookies, I think the top 4 of you guys are right now in the hunt to make the National Finals Rodeo inside the top 25 in the world standings. Do you guys talk about trying to come in and prove yourself amongst these, greats that are going right now?
Oh yeah, that's always. I mean, of course, that's in the back of our mind. But the main deal we tell ourselves, we buck off a bucker, well, he won't get us again in the yellow buck and shoots. That's what we've been telling each other. But yeah, like all three of us have a pretty good relationship. We're just going at it to make the finals, and we'll let that Rookie of the Year play out at the end of it.
So obviously, when you got into this, you start traveling a lot. I mean, you're going full time, right out of the chute. Do you have any stories from the road that are PG that have happened to you? I know guys have cars break down or different things happen.
Absolutely, I got one that'll top anybody's. I was with Justin Woodward and his uncle, and we were going to drop Justin off in San Diego to head to, I think it was George Paul. And me and Justin went to sleep. His uncle was driving, and we woke up, and we were crossing the border of Mexico. We were in Tijuana.
What?
I'm serious. And all we heard was Justin's uncle. He was like, "Hey, how'd I get out of here?" And the border people, when we going into the border, didn't even know English. They were completely Spanish. And so we had to go all the way into Mexico. And as soon as we hit Mexico, our phone shut off. So we had to figure out how to get back into it was pretty sketchy, but we had to figure out how to get back into the main highway to leave Mexico. That took about an hour, and we had to get Justin book new flights, but that was pretty wild.
So did the uncle not know what direction you guys were going, or what happened there?
I don't know. He passed San Diego about 30 minutes before we hit Mexico. I know that.
That is a great story.
Didn't know you guys had an event in Tijuana that he didn't let you know about?
Yeah, no, we woke up and we were in Mexico, and we were pretty worried.
Yeah. Oh man, that's great. So you've had all these memories throughout your rookie season so far, but what are you hoping to see the rest of the season from yourself? What are you trying to get accomplished in this? Obviously, the Wrangler National Finals is the goal, but it obviously starts with finishing off these Utah rodeos strong here this week, and then throughout the rest of the summer.
Yeah, Cheyenne, Wyoming, that's definitely a bucket list rodeo. My dad won that in the bronc riding in '97. And, that's been my one rodeo that I want to win. I want to have the same buckle as my dad. So, I mean, maybe we can make it happen this year.
Yeah.
So what do you guys do? You talk about crazy stories, and this won't have anything to do with Tijuana, but what do you guys do when try to have fun when you guys are on the road? You guys golf? Do you guys or karaoke or things like that? What do you guys doing?
We all have a set of golf clubs. We'll go golfing, like Tanner Ross and Tyler Kitts. We just now walked to the river and did a little cold plunge this morning. So we try to keep it interesting, try to stay out of our comfort zone a little bit.
Where are you staying out there in Utah right now? Camping out somewhere or what?
I have a truck camper. So right now I'm in Ogden. We stayed the night here, and we'll head to Spanish Fork in a few hours.
Good deal.
So were you well versed on all this travel, or are you just wearing out Google Maps?
Google Maps is getting it right now. I'm not too sure exactly where I'm at, but yeah, we're just going.
What's it like to wake up in a new city almost every day there for a while?
Yeah, that's what I tell all my boys, because I have a lot of boys that go to the PBR and do all that deal. But I tell them there's nothing better than not knowing what you're doing tomorrow, and that's definitely how it is at Pro Rodeo. And I didn't know there's two guys that stayed in the camper last night, and I had no clue who one of them was. So yeah, just not knowing what you're doing tomorrow and just rodeoing.
What's your favorite city you've been to so far? Have you had a place that you really loved going to, or a rodeo?
I don't know. Favorite rodeo, I'm gonna have to say Cheyenne is pretty awesome. But those northern California rodeos were all really fun. So.
Yeah, good deal.
Sure. Is there one on your list outside of the NFR that, like Pendleton, or is there a place you want to go that's on your bucket list before this season ends?
Calgary. I want to go to Calgary. I didn't get in this year, so next year that's on the bucket list.
Good deal.
Nice.
Well, Wacey, we can't thank you enough, man. We know we jumped on here with this short notice, but best of luck tonight in Spanish Fork, and keep kicking butt, and hopefully we'll see you in Vegas at the end of this thing.
Absolutely. Thank y'all so much.
Thanks, man.
Yep.
Take care.
There it is, Wasy Shaa, Tracy, and just an overall great kid. A lot of great stories on the road for these young guys, and they get a lot of life experiences on the road, sometimes whether they're ready for them or not.
Yeah, I mean, imagine being 18 years old and
Yeah,
travel in the
really
country.
fun.
I mean, if you're lucky, you play club sports and go out of out of state about 3 or 4 times. And these guys are living that life like every day, going all over the country. But that story about Tijuana or different
It's an
stuff.
all-timer.
That's one of the. I've heard some legendary. That's up there with Clayton Sellars throwing his keys to the U-Haul driver, and that didn't work for U-Haul. But yeah, it's the life of the cowboy, man. It's just crazy, and people see it. They're just young kids having fun, and I just can't imagine when I was 18. I mean, you think you're ready for moving on to college, but leaving home and just on the road and just good luck, have fun. It'd be like joining a
win some money.
It's like joining a band. So
and if you don't win money, it gets even tougher.
Yeah, and then you have to come home. I mean, and so there's a lot of pressure involved too. I mean, everybody wants to go do what these guys are doing, but it's hard to make a living at it. So it's great to see a guy like Wacey, and he seems like he has a great personality.
Yeah, and he's one of those kids, Tracy, where there's a lot of hype surrounding him. A lot of the rodeo announcers are saying, if you're looking for the next Ty Murray in rodeo, this is it, Wasey. You don't want to put that type of expectations on a kid, but maybe he puts them on himself to be the next great all-around rough stock guy.
Right. Well, he's Stetson. I mean, Statsu Stetson. Stetson's 24, and Stetson became the new Ty Murray, in modern day, and those are unbelievable expectations to meet. I mean, guys like Larry Mahan and Ty Murray, but when you can do that at a very high level and you're very good, which seems like he is. I mean, he succeeded at the high school level and was the best there could be.
College level.
He succeeded at the check the bucket list off the college level already. So I mean, usually when guys are that good, you kind of notice and they just keep progressing. Guys kind of like Stetson Wright or different guys. So, I mean, he's got the potential to do great things because 2 rough stock events, the way it pays now, to do the all-around and be great at those 2, I mean, look no further than Stetson Wright.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why Stetson wins all his all-arounds is because he's great in 2 rough stock events. And we, and I say we, the PRCA needs young and up-and-comers like this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not so much put pressure on Stetson. I mean, it's not like Stetson cares about the pressure. Just so we have new faces. The next generation, you pass the torch, and you have guys you looking down the pipeline that, oh, man, these guys are great.
Oh, it looks like we may have lost a light there, and see if we can get it back, Tracy. But let's just go ahead and wrap up the show here as we do. But this is going to be a good race in the rookie race for the bull riders because 3 of them inside the top 20, all fighting for the NFR, trying to win Rookie of the Year. A lot of great things. But that's going to do it for another episode of The Shoot Bosses. We appreciate you all joining us right here, and we'll be back with so much more great content each week right here on the show.
All he knows is he's got to ride. He's addicted to danger, ruled by passion and pride.